Continuing our look around the BC Hockey League previews for the 2016-17 season. Up next is the Victoria Grizzlies. We're joined by the head coach and general manager of the Grizzlies. It is Craig Didman. Hey, Craig, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
No problem. Happy to be here.
So when you look at putting your team together for 2016-17, this is a club for you with a lot of eligible returning players, but what sort of holes were you looking to fill when it came to recruiting for this season?
Well, I think the big thing was, we wanted to score more goals this year. So looking for those players that can come in and add offense right away, and, experienced players, whether they're, been playing, prep school and they're a little older and they're coming in, they're more than ready to play. So, really adding offense is the big thing that we wanted to take care of this offseason.
What all goes into putting together the Victoria Grizzlies? Explain the hockey recruiting game for your team.
Well, Victoria's a great place to play. We've got a great building. We've got a good foundation. I've been with the team now 7 years, so there's, that sense of culture created. We're a competitive team. But as far as the recruiting goes, we work hard to make sure we can bring in those 3 or 4 underage players a year that are from the province, and then from there we start to fill holes back east, in the prairie provinces as well as in the States, looking for kids that have education as their first goal and maybe could have played in the league at a younger age if they lived in the province, but they've been in prep schools, they've been finishing their grade 12, and now they're more than ready to come into our league and be good hockey players.
You alluded to it a little bit. You've been around the league for a long time. Your team last season doesn't make the playoffs, misses it by 2 points. What did you learn from last season, and did you discover that there was maybe something you needed to change in terms of style or organizational philosophy or anything like that?
Not really. The big thing for us is we were a bit of a victim of our own success. We had a lot of scholarships. We had 5 eligible forwards that left to play NCAA. And it just created a bit of a hole in our top 6, and we had to scramble. Some of those scholarships were coming in the summer, and we really had to scramble to try and house enough quality hockey players. So if anything, we've learned that from a tough season like we had last year, all that hard work and scraping and clawing, really developed the group. And I do feel that the players have come back so much stronger and so much more headstrong, not just physically as well as just ready for a great season. And so adversity makes you stronger, and it's a perfect example of what we went through last year.
You talk about those players moving on to college. That's a good problem to have, though, isn't it?
Well, exactly, and it is what it is, and like I say, we obviously knew that we were barking up the right tree because guys go into good schools, and that's what helps us bring in the recruits. A lot of the quality players we were able to bring in this year were due to our team's success in moving players on, and certainly there was no arguments. When schools are ready to take those kids, they take them. We're second, and we'll continue to look for our next batch.
What can fans expect from the Victoria Grizzlies this season compared to last?
Well, certainly you're seeing a veteran team out there. You're seeing an experienced team out there. But goaltending and defense, will be very stingy. And, I'm hoping to be an exciting team up front. We seem to have done that so far in exhibition with 26 goals so far. So I think we're, hopefully they see a full package. They see a team that is strong from goal to goal.
If you could pinpoint one thing in looking at what you've put together so far for your club, what would you say is the strength of this team?
Well, back again, our defense is the strength. Our D-core, I feel I've got 6 guys that are top 4 defensemen. Even our young guys coming in, we're overdue. They could have probably got in last year in Nico Somerville on defense. So I think our defense is a strong identity, and I'm hoping, and we're seeing it already. But we're a great offensive team as well.
On the cusp of the 2016-17 season, what's the biggest challenge facing the Victoria Grizzlies?
I think the first-year players that are in those top 9 roles up front, the guys that have found top 6. that they're able to walk in and have the confidence to play their game right away and not get caught in the fact we're playing junior hockey and I'm just part of it. We need those guys that are expected to score to be comfortable right away. So the biggest challenge is just creating that experience and confidence for some of those first-year guys or rookies that are expected to score.
With a veteran group that you've got and the fact that so many of those guys went through last season and just missing the playoffs by 2 points, as I mentioned earlier, do they have a chip on their shoulder?
Well, they certainly, a chip in their shoulder as in, they got some expectations for sure. I mean, they want to prove to the league. I do know towards the end, the last half of the season, nobody in our division took us for granted. Our record was one of the stronger ones in the second half of the season within our division. So, certainly the respect's there. And, I just think the guys got something to prove. Our 20-year-olds, on defense there, Van Lierop, Sterling, and Stevens are three guys that had a lot of good looks last year from schools, but, they want to get to that next level. So there's a lot of drive individually and collectively as a group. So, I think we're all going to be playing with a chip on our shoulder for sure.
As an outsider, it's easy to look at your roster and say, okay, well, a guy like Cole Pickup, know what to expect from him. A guy like Tyler Welsh, know what to expect from him. Your goaltenders, both with a year under their belt now, kind of know what to expect there. But are there any returning players that maybe flew under the radar a little bit last season and this year you're looking at for maybe a bigger role, or they've come into camp and grasped a bigger role that maybe even surprised you guys a little bit? Like, who's there that you're expecting to take a quantum leap this season?
Well, I think, Kivan Mokatari, a 98 forward from Vancouver. He had 30 points on a low-scoring team, found himself in the top six towards the end of the year last year. He's come to camp in great shape and looks great, speed, shot. So I'm expecting him to elevate himself to, a top player in the league, even though he's only 18. And then Nick Gainey's a 20-year-old, third-year player for us, had some injuries last year. He's come to camp. I've never seen him in this good a shape. He's looked great. He scored 3 goals in preseason in 2 games. So he's a guy. And then, on defense, Brett Sterling's kind of an underrated big defenseman that's mobile, shoots the puck hard. He was a week late for camp because of a bit of a lower body injury, but he's getting going. He looks great in practice. And then the other one is Drayson Pears, a 98D that, played in our number 6 spot last year and just looks great as far as speed and, shooting the puck and just a good 200-foot defenseman. So those 4 guys kind of come to mind.
How important is it to have a solid group of players returning? Obviously, you'd love to move on guys to a higher level every single season, but that just doesn't happen with every single player on your roster. So how important is it to have a number of players return, guys who know the expectations, guys who know the system, the community, and that kind of thing?
Well, that's just it. I mean, the relativity. To have a guy like, Cole Pickup, who's seen it all, Cody Van Lierop, it's his 3rd year as well, Cole's 4th. Those guys know our system. They know how we play. They know what I expect. They know how I want them to prepare. They know what the daily log looks like. They know what they're supposed to do in the community and where they go in the community. So, there's less unknowns and there's more known. And, this year just having so many rookies last year, 17 first-year guys, versus, just a smatter this year, maybe 7. It's just, you can see that the ship's straighter from the start. And I recognize the way we play right now, whereas we were 2-3 games into regular season last year, and I didn't recognize our identity at all. I didn't think we even played the way the system I was trying to teach. So, to have those guys that know the expectations, it's just very fluent on the ice right now. And, we've been working on our systems this week. And, it's great to have guys that, support. And so, I mean, when you don't have the veteran players and you're scrambling and 17 new guys, you kind of forget how comforting it is to have 12 players back and just let them lead the ship.
One last thing before I let you go, Craig. What does it mean to be a Victoria Grizzlies player?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity, and this is an organization that looks after hockey players and tries to move them on. And if you're going to be a Victoria Grizzly, you're certainly a well-rounded individual, not just a hockey player, but as a person. And Education, you have education as big goals. It's a big part of your life, and someone that can go into the community and be a professional. Our Grizzlies are leaders in the minor hockey association. They're leaders in the schools, and the special areas in the community. They're a big part of. So, being a Grizzly is a great honor, and it's a team that plays with a lot of integrity. We have a lot of respect for the league, and we feel that we are a contender every year.
All right, looking ahead to 2016-17, it is the Victoria Grizzlies head coach and general manager, Craig Didman. Craig, thanks very much for taking the time to chat here, and best of luck this season.
No problem. Thank you.